Hello and welcome. Thank you for attending. My name is Willie, and today we're going to be talking about prioritization and what projects we should be working on first. Now, prioritization does have the tendency to be a very broad topic, but what we're going to focus on today is just going to be adding in some fields on the project form and then using people's answers to those fields to calculate a project priority value and then a couple of the things that we can do once we have that value for the projects. So let's take a quick look at an example here in RoboHead of what that might look like. So in our example project here, we have set up a section called prioritization. And then we have a rule set up so that this is only going to show up for the people that are putting in the projects. Anyone else isn't going to see it. They're not going to see how this all works. For the people that do see it, they're going to be asked a couple of questions. And so for our example here, just to make things a little bit universal, we've broken it down to three questions with three options each. Um, and those are going to essentially be the business impact or money. How does this project impact the revenue of the company? The timeline, how long is this project going to take? And then the effort, or how much resources is this project going to require? And then depending on what people choose, like this, it's going to automatically fill in what we think the priority of the project should be. So, how do we come up with all of this? Well, this, as I said, for our example, we use something that's pretty universal: money, time, and effort. But we realize that's not going to necessarily be something that everyone uses in their projects or is a metric for every project that people have. Everyone's got different companies and different priorities. So if you're looking to copy something like this, and this doesn't fit into what you're doing, then it may be worth sitting down, having your account admin, sitting down with your team and taking a look at those projects and, trying to figure out what values you are looking for in the project that would determine its priority. It may be something like, what department is it coming from, or what type of project is it coming from? There may be other values that you would create that aren't these, but that don't exist on the forms, and just kind of, sit down, take a look over it, see what, you think is important, and kind of go from there. But back to our example, let's break down how this all works. So we've got these fields, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over to a spreadsheet here, and we're going to write them out. So we've got our business impact, and then these are the three values underneath there: direct revenue, which we're going to assign a value of 1, because this is, essentially the highest priority that we think is going to be an impact to the business. We've got supports goals. Yeah, basically, maybe this isn't making a lot of money, but it goes along with company policy and what we're looking to do. So we're going to give that a 2 for, assign that for a value of 2 for the middle. And then nice to haves. Maybe these are quality of life improvements, something that is good, but not necessarily getting us any money or exposure or anything like that. So we're going to put that at the lowest priority here, and we're going to assign that a value of 3. We're going to do something similar here to timeline and effort. They both follow similar patterns. For something that has a very short timeline, we're going to assign that a value of 1, because that's something we can probably work on, get done really quick. And then as the time goes up, we just increase the value of that option, to get, if something's going to take a month, maybe that's not a high priority project. And then similarly for effort, resources, something that's low effort, probably a high priority. Something that takes a lot of effort, not so much. So we've got our three different fields, and we've got values for each of the options in those fields. And now we're going to have to do a little bit of math. So if anyone does remember their math, three options like this and then 3 options underneath each of those is going to give us 27 different variations of things that people can choose for these 3 fields. And so we're going to need to list all of those out like we've done here and then do a little addition. So business impact, you remember the direct revenue was a 1, timeline was a 1, effort low was a 1. That gives us a total value of 3 if all of those fields are chosen. And then it's just going to be a matter of going down the list. Supports goals for business impact was a 2, less than a week was a 1, effort low of a 1, gives us a total of 4. And just keep on going down the line until we get to the very bottom where we have our highest value ones of nice to have, more than 3 weeks, and high, 3 and 3 and 3, give us a 9 for that. Now you could use these values directly for your priority in RoboHead. You can just, but 3 to 9 is kind of an odd priority system and maybe a little weird when people are looking at it. So what we've done instead is we've created a column over here called priority, and then we're just going to assign values that we want to all of these things. I've broken this down into 8 different values, and then just because, but you can break this down into any number of values that you want. You could do a scale of 1 to 10 here. You could do 4 or 5. You could break it down into only 2 different priorities if you wanted. One of the nice things about breaking it up into a few more options here and doing your own scale and not just the straight numbers is that this also does let you put your thumb on the scale a little bit and adjust where these projects fall. So if you weight a high effort more than the other 2, you could take anything here and instead of just going down the list, you could bump this priority up. And so anyone who's choosing a high priority, maybe those numbers get a little bit higher than they would be on, just taking the raw value. And maybe anything that has a low effort, you move up a little bit. And, it lets you kind of slide the scale as far as which of these is more important to you. I've taken and broken them down pretty evenly. We've still just got 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, and everything else in the middle is broken up into 3 or 4 different options. So once we've got this all figured out and we know, which options go to what priority value, now we have to go back to the rules in the forms. So if we head back over to our RoboHead project here, let's go into the accounts and take a look at the forms. And if we go into edit the project form here, we can see things are set up. We've got a prioritization section down here. We can expand that out. And then we'll take a look at the rules. So what the next step is going to entail is basically just creating 27 different rules that all look something like this. If the business impact is, option direct revenue, and timeline is less than a week and effort is low, then we're going to set the field value for that priority field to the number 1. With the way that the rules work in RoboHead, we are going to have to do this for each of the different options. So I would recommend, if you're looking to copy this, to keep the number of fields and options you create here to the minimum. 3 by 3, like we've got here, is 27 options. This is something that would increase exponentially if you tried adding a lot of different variables. So keeping it into something like 3 fields with 3 options apiece, or maybe 2 fields with 4 options apiece, is going to help you keep these rules in check and things manageable. So while we're in here, let's take a look. So we've got the rule here that says to only show that section, if you're an admin or a project manager. We've got our regular rules that show the different sections based on project type. We've got all of our other different rules for filling out that priority value. And then the last one here is something that we've set up, and this is a rule that you could add that would basically just send an email to someone if a project did get entered that was of a certain priority. So if you do have one of those very high priority projects come in, as soon as it's saved, you could set it up to send an email to, one of your project managers or one of your users and just alert them to the fact that, this new thing did come in. While we're in the forms here, let's just take a quick look at the priority field as well, because we've done a couple of things with this that can also be just sort of useful once it's in and working. The first is to check the create project collection option so that we can create that priority field as just a easily accessible collection on the left. And then the other thing that we've done is we have added in a color gradient to these options so that they'll show up like that on the project list. I've used green to red just because I don't have anything else set up right now, and that's fairly obvious. But if you're already using that for project statuses, feel free to choose your own colors. But once we've got all that in and saved, let's take a quick look here at what that will actually look like in our project list. And this is what it would look like. So for all of these projects now, if we just take a look at the information, you can see that people have chosen options and then a priority value has been set for those. And so in this list, we've just got that value. We've got it all nice and colored, and you've got an approximate priority for your different projects. Because this is a column in the list, there are some other nice things we can do. We can click on the list to sort by it, and now all of my projects are in a order that from highest priority to lowest priority. Because it's a column here, I can also set and save filters for it where I can just pare down the project list to seeing only high priority projects if that's what I'm interested in. The priority category over here is also particularly useful because this is going to be something that you can click on. You'll see all of the different priority options, and then you'll see all of the currently active projects or the total number of active projects in that priority. So if we wanted to see where all of these, what all of these priority 3 projects are, we can just click on that and get that list view right here. And obviously, because this is a column and this is now a field on the forms, it works just as well in reports. So if we wanted to take a look at our reports here, we can see that we've got one set up where the priority includes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Include some information there. We're just going to save and run that report. And then we get all of the projects that are priority 1 through 4. So hopefully this has been helpful, maybe giving you some ideas on something that you can do in your own forms that would, help you generate priorities for your different projects and make your workflow a little bit more efficient. If you do have any questions on this or there's anything you want to discuss, feel free to contact us at the RoboHead support at aquent.com email address. We'd be more than happy to talk with anyone about any questions you might have. Thank you very much and have a good day.